Hi, I'm Lisa from Australian travel and migration blog dreamingofdownunder.com. My recent video on living in Perth compared to Sydney is doing quite well at the moment, and with the Western Australia border opening up this week internationally and domestically, I thought this would be a good time to share my top things to do in Perth. I spent 5 months living in Perth when I first moved to Australia before I did a big road trip, so I had a lot of time to explore and I found lots of lovely beaches and attractions and things to do. I've already written a blog post on this, so I'll link to that below if you want to have a look, and I'll link to any attractions that I recommend as well. I've just had a few weeks off as I went to the UK and got COVID right at the beginning, so I've just got my voice back, so hopefully there'll be more regular videos again now. So here are my top 15 things to do in Perth. My first recommendation is to visit Kings Park. This is a really iconic part of Perth. It's really pretty. It's very elevated, so for me the best point was the views. You can see across the Perth skyline and across the Swan River. The viewpoint faces east, so it's really nice at sunrise. It's not just a big open grassy park, it's got botanic gardens, bushwalks, war memorials, it's got cafes, an art gallery. It's a really nice place to visit. My second recommendation is to spend the day in Fremantle. This is a really nice old historic port city about half an hour from Perth. It's got lots of old heritage listed buildings, so it's really pretty and it's quite different from Perth City. There's an old prison there that you can go inside, as well as lots of museums. You've got a working fishing harbour that's got a marina with loads of restaurants. That's really nice to go for a meal. On weekends and Fridays, there's also some really big indoor markets that's got lots of food and clothes. They're really nice to look around. There's also the E-Shed markets by the quay. And there's also really nice cafes and bars and restaurants, so if you want to go in the daytime or if you just want to go for a night out, it's really good fun. My third thing to do is to go dolphin spotting on the Swan River. I couldn't believe the first time I went to this river. It's right next to the city and you've got loads of dolphins in there. I think almost every time I walked along it I saw dolphins. So if you go to Langley Park, which is between the river and the city, you can quite often spot them there, particularly if you go in the morning. My fourth thing to do is to visit a beach in Perth. Perth is known for having really lovely beaches. It's got really nice white sand, it's got really turquoise ocean, it's really beautiful. Some of your options are Cottesloe, that's a really well-known one, and it's really easy to get to because it's on the train line from the city. City Beach is also a really nice one. It sounds like it will be busy, but it's actually quite a quiet one. It's just got a couple of nice restaurants there. Scarborough is really nice, that was one of my favourites. It's got lots of bars and restaurants right behind the beach, so it's got a really good atmosphere there, but it still doesn't get too busy. My fifth thing to do is to go out for a meal in Perth. You've got lots of choices. So in the city, I would head to Murray Street or Northbridge. You've got lots of restaurants there. If you want to go out in the suburbs, Subiaco and Leederville have lots of nice cafes and restaurants. And my favourite place was called the Lucky Shag, which is a bar just on the waterfront. You can walk there from the city, but it's just got really nice views because it's on the water, and I've also seen dolphins there, so another plus. My sixth thing to do is to explore Perth Street Art. Street art is really big in Australia in general, but I remember arriving in Perth and being quite surprised because I saw lots of big murals on the side of buildings and quite a few sculptures around. If you just walk around the city, you'll spot them yourself. This picture's a really nice one by Anya Brock that's on Rose Street in Perth. Number 7 is to go and see kangaroos on Heirisson Island. This island is about 4 kilometres from the city and it's in East Perth. You can just walk there across a bridge. It's a really nice big grassy area. It's like a park basically. Got really nice views and lots of wild kangaroos live there, so you will spot them if you go. Number 8 is to visit an art gallery in Perth. If you go to the city, you've got the Art Gallery of Western Australia. That's been open since 1895. That's got lots of nice Indigenous art. There's also the Pika Gallery, which is the Perth Institute of Contemporary Art. So that's got more modern stuff. That's opposite the library in a nice old heritage building. And you've also got lots of nice small galleries dotted around the city too. Number 9 is to go on a cruise along the Swan River. The waterfront area is really nice in Perth and it's nice to just get out of the city and see a bit more of it. So I'll link to a cruise below if I can see a similar one to what I did. So when you go on a cruise, they'll point out all the important buildings in Perth and lots of big mansions and who lives in them and anyone famous. It's just a really nice trip and you get really nice views. Number 10 is to go on a trip to Rottnest Island. This is really easy to get to from Perth. You can just get a short ferry ride over from either Fremantle or Hillary's Boat Harbour. It's an absolutely beautiful island. It's really unspoilt. It's got loads of really nice white beaches, really bright aqua water. It's got no cars there. You can do a tour bus or you can hire a bike and do a 22-kilometre circuit of the island. That's what I did. It's most well known for quokkas, which is a really small, really cute kind of marsupial animal in Australia, and there's thousands of them live there in the wild. So if you go over, you'll definitely see them. They're absolutely everywhere and they're really, really tame. If you want to go for longer than a day, you can hire a cabin if there's a group of you. They've got some really nice beachfront accommodation too, and there's also a camping site. I was really surprised actually that it's such a beautiful island. I thought it would have been bought out by a luxury resort or something, but it actually looks a bit like a 1950s holiday camp. It's got quite basic cabins, so you can go really cheaply if there's a few of you. There's only one small village in the island in Thompson Bay, and that's got just a few cafes and restaurants. There's not really many places to eat out, but it is nice just for a few days. I went to Rottnest, which is like a small music festival at one of the hotels there outside. That's really, really good. It's a really nice place to go snorkelling as well. You can hire flippers and snorkels from the little shop there that hires the bikes out. Just be aware that it is a really beautiful island, but it did used to be a prison for Aboriginal people, so it's got a bit of a horrible past, like a lot of places in Australia, unfortunately. There is a cemetery there you can look at in the village, and you can just research it if you want to learn more about that. Number 11 is to visit Perth Zoo. I know zoos aren't for everyone, it's much nicer to see animals in the wild, but this zoo does have a really big focus on being eco-friendly and on wildlife conservation. So there's lots and lots of information there on things like illnesses that threaten the species in the wild if you want to learn about that. It's a really big place, so I would give yourself a whole day if you have the time. Also, the ferry ride there from the city is really nice. It's on the opposite side of the river. If you can come back at sunset, you might get a really nice sky as well as you're coming into the city. Number 12 is to watch the sunset from Langley Park. This is one of my favourite things to do in Perth. So Langley Park is between the river and the city, and you've also got Riverside Drive going through it, so that's got really tall palm trees lining it either side. And when the sun sets behind the city, you get the silhouette of all the palm trees and the skyscrapers. It looks really, really amazing if you get a really nice pink sky. Number 13 is to go for a night out in Northbridge. This is the entertaining district in Perth. I guess it's kind of a bit like King's Cross is in Sydney. It's a little bit quirkier than the CBD, so you'll find more interesting places to go out. If you want to go in the daytime, there are lots of nice cafes, but at night you've got lots of restaurants and bars. If you're backpacking, try the Mustang Bar for cheap food, or the Brass Monkey Hotel. That's a really, really big kind of bar with a dance floor that stays open late. You also got the Bird, which is a kind of hipster bar that has really good live music on. There's gay clubs and just lots of things, whatever you're into really. Number 14 is to watch the sunrise from East Perth. I used to live in East Perth and I could walk to the river from there. So it was really nice if you went early morning because the sun was behind the river. There's lots of really nice pathways and parks along the river, lots of kind of wildlife areas, just a really nice walk. Number 15 is to go shopping in Perth. If you want to go in the city, I would head to Murray Street Mall and around that area. That's where you'll find the high street shops. If you want somewhere more quirky and sort of independent boutiques, I'll go to William Street in Northbridge. You've also got Watertown Brand Outlet on Wellington Street. And then Garden City is a huge mall with a cinema too. Okay, that's it for my top things to do in Perth. That's really made me want to go back and visit now, but it's about a 4-hour plane ride from Sydney. Let me know in the comments if you're planning on visiting Perth or moving there, or if you've got any other great things to do that you'd like to share. And please like and subscribe for more videos on life in Australia. Thanks for watching. It's really nice, so you can hire, it's a really nice